Are you buying and selling cryptos on the same laptop that you're using to browse the internet, read your email, and visit social media sites? If so, you're exposing your cryptos to theft. Whenever you're online, you're at risk of getting hacked and having your identity stolen. How would you feel if someone stole all of your cryptos? What would that do to your finances? Guard your cryptos with a safe and secure laptop from CALIX Solutions. Each laptop is set up just for you and your cryptos, and then we walk you through exactly how it works. Don't risk the security of your cryptos. Order a crypto laptop from CALIX Solutions now to secure your crypto future. Learn more at calixsolutions.io.
And then I said, screw you, officer. I ain't listened to nothing. And then he put handcuffs on me.
And then the dream ended.
Yeah, then the dream ended. Speaking of dream, I'm living it, brother. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. We have some inclement weather here, but it's okay. It's April.
Right, you're going to have to elaborate, because up in St. Louis, that could mean 115 fucking degrees, or we had snow yesterday.
Oh, that's true. No, it's raining. It's raining significantly. We had a couple of good spots of rain yesterday, and Potosi had a tornado come through.
Wow.
And then we got some more rain coming today, and it's going to be considerable in terms of the amount that we get, and I'm anticipating that there's going to be some flooding downstream. But
is it me, or does it seem as if Tornado Alley is shifting a little bit?
No.
And heading right through St. Louis?
No, it's we've always had our fair share, but Texas and Oklahoma, I just
that's a different world.
Yeah.
I don't even know why Texas or Oklahoma allow any fucking trailer parks anymore, because it's like that's what they go for.
Well, they're magnets.
The trailer park.
The trailer parks are magnets for tornadoes. Absolutely.
I think it has something to do with the electrical field around a trailer park that just like draws them in and smash it. Because every time they have one, they have some old toothless woman. Well, I was hanging my laundry out. Next thing I know, the tornado just showed up. And I'll be damned, little Fluffy, we still ain't found Fluffy.
You know, though, there was a great meme. Toby Keith. There's a picture of Toby Keith, and he's got a cooler and a lawn chair. And he says, "There's nothing like watching the weather turn on you in the Midwest."
That's absolutely true.
Yeah, and we're idiots that way. We'll stand there and watch a storm come through like nobody's business. If they could do pay-per-view, we would do it.
You and I have actually done that. We've sat and watched lightning and blowing through, and we're both like, ooh.
Oh, yeah, little idiots. Yeah, absolutely.
Look, that's a tornado right there.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
We're sitting there drinking our drinks and getting drunk.
And watching tornadoes.
Watching tornadoes go by. So, Patrick, this week, what has actually caught your attention politically?
Oh, geez, what hasn't? I mean...
Oh, wait, no. What do you think is going on with the Pope? Or, well, not really him, because he ain't moved a whole lot lately. But what do you think is actually actually going on with the elect? Is it an election of the Pope?
Yeah, it's the choice of who's going to be Pope, who's going to fill that role. From primarily what usually happens is from the College of Cardinals, but it doesn't have to be. An elected Pope only has to be a baptized Catholic.
So you technically could be the Pope.
Yeah, technically I could, and it hasn't been since the 1300s that that's happened. And that's a job that I am woefully prepared for.
Hey, let me put it this: I would trust you as a Pope more than I trust that last guy.
Well, and that's not saying much. I appreciate the compliment, but that's not saying much. That's not saying much at all. They talk about how there could be a continuation of Francis's trip on the road to perdition, but I don't think that that's going to be what happens. I actually think we might end up with a conservative in that role, because he went so far left. He did some stuff that even moderate Catholics were scratching their heads over, going, "What the heck are you
I would argue he didn't go left. I would argue he went down. I mean, he was agreeing with Satan on several different things."
Oh, he was, but that's the left's position. Is we want to placate emotions. We don't want to deal with what the rules are. We want to forego that. We want people to feel good about themselves and what they're doing. This has nothing to do with feeling good about yourself. This has everything to do with salvation. I don't understand how we can. That's
what used to fucking just drive me nuts, because the church's position on transgender is this, and I'm like, I don't think that's in the Bible there, big guy.
No,
not sure if you're reading the same Bible I'm reading.
No,
I'm pretty sure that's not what it says.
No.
It and you know how we are. Hey, if you throw a strike, we call it a strike. You throw a ball, we call a ball. And that guy was throwing some horse shit. And a lot of Catholics like yourself were like blindsided. You're like, wait, this is not what the doctrine says. This is not.
Yeah, right. Well, I'm anticipating that was a very brief conversation at the gates.
Oh yeah. Oh, he's lucky. He even got an interview, because Jesus was probably like, bro, really? The fuck you doing here?
Yeah. Well, we'll see. It's I think the conclave starts. It's 9 days after the funeral, so we got some time. But my understanding is they started having some discussions the next day after his death, and it should not have taken place. But that's another story. Yeah. It should not have taken place. They weren't allowing for enough time for travel, logistics, arrival, etc. And this was hastily called by the liberal cardinals.
It sounds like they're like, all right, here's our plan. Before everyone shows up, here's our plan.
That's pretty much the way that I read it. Now I have no insight, but that's the way I felt it was going. So yeah, we
Well,
will see.
if the rules are you don't actually do that, and they did it, there's a reason there's a rule not doing it. So it's an open air conversation with all of the other actual bishops. So they didn't know, hey, let's, do this in a back room kind of sneaky shit going on.
Well, that's true. I mean, they could talk amongst themselves and try to get their ducks in a row. But ultimately, once the conclave convenes, the rest of them are going to have a voice. And believe me, they will speak up. They will speak out. Guys like Dolan.
I love him.
Yeah. Dolan will have a lot to say. He's New York. Burke is, and Figueroa is absolutely. Well, you know what? I don't know if he has a seat at the table.
He should.
He should. Absolutely, he should.
Well, I think the reason he doesn't have a seat at the table is because he flipped that motherfucker over.
Oh, he did.
Yeah.
He did on a regular basis. On a regular basis, he called him out, which is his right.
And his job as a practicing Catholic.
That is correct. That is correct. Absolutely his job.
The church isn't the Pope. It's the members of the church. That's the church.
It is.
And when you have a small elite who are shifting the ethical direction of a group that is completely against what the group actually believes in, then you're going to have some trouble. Has a pope ever actually been assassinated?
No. Attempted, yes.
Okay. Yeah, I thought there was one or two of them that had an assassination attempt.
Well, John Paul II was one.
That's why he got the bubble card.
The Pope-mobile, yeah, that's how that came about. And the other one was back in the medieval era. There was a question about whether or not his demise was a result of somebody's claim to power. So, yeah, there's always been some intrigue as that goes. I mean, who was it? The Borgias were a big one for that. Poison was their weapon of choice.
Yep.
So anyway, other than that, in the political realm, we have Trump is allegedly being impeached by some little weasel. I can't remember where this cat's from. Michigan. He's a rep from Michigan. And the left, the Democrats' heads are exploding left and right, and they're having these little tantrums, and how they're not going to come together. There's always been this talk from the left about coming together and making things right and working together for the good of the people. And yet, given the opportunity, the TDS is just so strong with these people that they can't even make a move to that end. It's constant contempt and everything in their power to dismantle the efforts of this administration and undermine undermine the will of the people. I mean, let's face it, he was elected for a reason, significantly, by a significant margin. And yet these knuckleheads continue to double down on what was a bad bet to begin with. And the only thing that they had was name calling. They had no platforms. They had no platforms. They had no solutions. They still don't. Everything. The only thing that they have is to say Trump bad, no go there, and that's it.
Yeah, it's literally there because they were playing their plan. But what they can't say is our plan is to destroy America. Let's go. You know, it's hey, yeah, we wish we could slow down all of these illegal immigrants, but we can't. So we're just gonna fly them in. How's that sound?
Well, did you hear what Holman was saying? Holman said at the beginning of the week that what Biden did was absolutely unlawful in terms of just opening the border up and letting all these people in.
Absolutely. That's the whole thing. People need to accept that this is not the other side.
Well,
these are the enemies of America. These are the people who are trying to fundamentally destroy America.
Michelle Obama comes out and says she loses sleep at night because of this mass deportation program that's going on. Her husband removed 3 million people who were in this country illegally.
Yep.
And so far, Trump's only removed 150,000.
Yeah, and she loses sleep at night because of the hormones she takes to actually keep her from switching back into a fucking man.
Well, the prostate. She's got prostate issues at this point.
This is what it made. Actually, let's talk a little Bitcoin since this is like a Bitcoin show. I'm actually doing an interview with my Washington guy, Mr. Dennis Porter, on Friday.
Oh, excellent.
And he's so he's like losing his mind on how much positive shit is going on with Bitcoin legislatively. He's overwhelmed with how many reps are reaching out to them and saying, hey, can you help us with this legislation? Or can you, how should we do this? And I mean, he's a very level-headed, person. He's a lot like you. He isn't gonna get all cheerleadery and hope and change horse shit. He's a very realistic, level-headed person, unlike me, who I'm like, to the moon, 8 million within 14 hours, and and even he's like, look, I don't see how we don't skyrocket in the next 6 months. He was like, if even a quarter of what I'm involved with is implemented, we're done. This is over.
And there's another piece of legislation I wanted to talk about that's in the works. It's the Pelosi Act that Josh Hawley came up with.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
I love Josh Hawley. I swear to God, he's probably one of the best elected people ever out of Missouri.
I can't. The acronym was something along the lines of preventing elected leaders from owning stock investments.
Yeah.
That was, I mean, the acronym was just absolutely perfect. And to have her name on that in perpetuity is yeah, is it's beyond funny. They took, there's a building in San Francisco that was named after her, and Trump said, "Sell it. We're getting rid of it. We don't want that to happen." And so instead,
I remember that.
yeah, her shingle is going to be hung on a piece of legislation that is contrary to her behavior. How many millions is she worth? Like $175 million dollars?
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. No inside trading here.
No.
So anyway, we were on the crypto leg of information here. That's on Friday at what time? Do you know?
Usual show.
Okay.
10, I think he's going to do the 10 o'clock show, and I guarantee we are going to go for an hour because I have a shit ton of questions for him.
Sure.
Because he isn't just working here in America. He's over in South Korea. He's helping a lot of countries with the legislation because he knows how to write it, he knows how to structure it, he knows how to roll it out, and everyone's reaching out to him. And I am going to be working with him on launching it's a club, but it's more of a conference center up in Washington, D.C. And that's where all of us crypto people will be able to hold our conferences up in Washington, D.C. And that way, we're right at the heart of it. And we can have elected officials, we can have fundraisers, we can have, all kinds of shit right there in the heart of the beast. Because and he agrees, the only way we win is if we infiltrate that whole area and we use our own capital to elect our own people. He's like, that's it. That's the only way we win is if we put it, because every single crypto person who has been elected is a conservative because they're all about real money,
right?
Real, honest currency. And I am listening to a long friggin' book on the creation of the Bank of International Settlement. This is such a racket. I mean, that is the bank of all fucking banks. And none of the laws, they are immune from all laws around the world. Even murder, you can't prosecute them. It's freaking fascinating.
So it's the Bauer Bank?
Yeah. Bank of International Settlements. And
the Bauer Bank.
And they're in Switzerland.
The Bauer Bank.
Yep. And the reason, this fucking book is great. Once I get done listening to, or I'll send you a link for it, Patrick. Holy cow. When you realize how they created this, and after World War II, they asked, or they tried reining in America. Well, America at that point said, fuck you. We're not going along with this. So J.P. Morgan and a bunch of American banks joined it. But the federal government wouldn't. And then after World War II is when America joined it. And it's absolutely just a racket shithole of an entity. It's all fucking corruption at all levels. And what's crazy is all of the membership banks, all of the heads or officers of the membership banks are immune to international and national laws.
And how did that come to be, that they are immune?
Because they were created. They were created through the Treaty of Versailles with after World War One. So that's how they were created, because initially they tried the League of Nations, which went down in flames. And since they couldn't get the League of Nations, they created this shithole entity, and they included it in the treaty as the mechanism that Germany would repay all of the debt. Well, it grew, and then after World War II, it grew into what we have now, which is basically all of the global reserves. And I'm fucking talking Bank of England, Federal Reserve, all of them. That's their hub. And did you know Jerome Powell doesn't pay taxes?
I did not know that.
He's immune from taxes. All of the officials of the Federal Reserve are immune from all taxes and regulations. That's why they say, well, Trump can't fire him. That's why, well, the Fed's independent. Oh, that means it's outside the system, the legal system and everything. And it's nuts.
But the fact that the Federal Reserve doesn't have a charter.
Yes, and that's what the Treasury Secretary brought up the other day in the interview when he said he has the authority to act if the Federal Reserve doesn't, because they are working on an expired charter.
He did voice that, huh? He voiced that.
Absolutely, right in the interview. And what I love, it was on a Bloomberg interview. And he flat out said, if the Federal Reserve is unwilling to act, I have the legal authority to act in its place. That's the Treasury basically saying, you won't do it? Fuck you. We'll do it. And that's when shit gets oogly. That's when.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And you know, Powell's he's gonna puff up, but he's got nothing.
Yeah, because let's all go back in history. That's exactly what JF actually did when he launched the Kennedy dollar out of the Treasury.
Right.
And less than 60 days later, he's sitting in a morgue somewhere. And because they never thought he'd really do it. Well, he launched it and he ordered, if you remember, he had to send the military into the mint to freeze the mint and actually take over the control of the mint. There's so much history there because that's what Trump's going to do. And that's why Trump is, because, and I've been telling people this for years, there will be an American wallet. There will actually be a Social Security wallet interface where you download it on your phone from the federal government. And it sounds bad. This is how we are going to get this shit in order. Because that's how the federal government, because this is only going to get worse, folks. They're going to try and shut down everything.
Absolutely.
Social Security payments aren't going to go out. You know that, and they will cut off the Social Security payments through the bureaucracy. And they'll shut the government down and they will try and blame it on Trump. Well, what Trump is going to do is he's going to replace all of those issuance through an app, a U.S. citizenship app. And that's where you will register to vote. That's where and there's going to be security on this shit. That's what Elon and a few others have been working on, is this app. You hear whispers of it. They don't usually call it an app. They usually referred to it as a program. We're initiating certain programs, and that's what they're talking about. Because it's we are going digital, but in order to even have the app on your phone, you have to verify your citizenship, which means you upload your ID and then you do an in-app interview where AI recognizes your face. It asks you random questions, and they're simple questions. Like, what is your favorite color? What is the Second Amendment? Or because what the app will do, it will verify you're a real person. and it will actually have you wink. Use your left eye and wink. If you're unable to wink your left eye, lift your right hand and snap. It's very, so you'll have to actually verify that you are a human and it matches your ID. And then that app is encrypted. So you'll have a private address and you'll have a public address. And that's where you will receive your Social Security. Now, you can set up your app where it will send it directly into your checking account or whatever. But that's how they are going to track all of this. Because we have millions and millions of people that are receiving Social Security payments and assistance and all this other shit that they shouldn't be getting. And that's what's going to squash it. That's what blockchain is for. Authentication and transactions of information or verification. And it's absolutely fascinating where this is all freaking going.
So is this going to incorporate the voting app that the post office had developed?
Yes, that's all linked with it. Yes. There's a reason that they created that. They didn't just go, hey, wouldn't it be fun if we created a voting app? You know?
Yeah.
And you have to remember, the post office is a separate entity from the government. So that's why they're called a postmaster. Because the federal government does not own the land that the post offices sit on.
Really?
Nope. That is owned by the post office. It's a completely different entity. It's absolutely fast. It's yes. Bingo. The original post office was a bank. Yes, it was. Yes, it was. And that's where you would go and do your banking. And if you had how the friggin' post office used to, that's where they'd have wiring for sending what do you call it, telegrams and shit like that. That was all through the post office.
Huh. I did not know that.
Yep. And that's why Trump is going to use the Treasury Department and the post office as the entities where he rolls these out. He goes, like I said, hey, anyone thinking it's gonna get good is underestimating the assholes we're up against. We aren't up against just the progressives here in America. We're up against a global network of countries and governments and banks. And Trump That's why he's implementing the Bitcoin. And I've said this for years. It's the only way you can destroy their system without shooting people. Because as price goes up, it will drain the Federal Reserve dry. And the only thing that the Federal Reserve as a separate entity can do is purchase Bitcoin. That's it. Because once, and this is what the head of Treasury was saying the other day when he said, if the Federal Reserve doesn't, lower the interest rates, that he will, is what he'll do is he'll just launch a currency out of the Treasury, and then he won't sell any of our Treasury bonds to the Federal Reserve. So the Federal Reserve will have nothing that actually backs the dollar, their Federal Reserve dollar. The only way they could do it is if they purchased a bunch of Bitcoin and they said, well, we'll actually back our reserve with the Bitcoin. Because there's nothing else that they can back it with, because they don't own any gold. They're not allowed to. It's illegal for the Federal Reserve to own gold. They can hold it, but they cannot own it. So that's it. That's what I've been trying to tell everybody is the Bitcoin is the nuclear economic weapon that brings the whole system down, because it's a system of trust, and they have broken the trust. And now we have this globally transmitted, decentralized currency / commodity that everyone's running into because no one wants the bonds anymore. China ain't buying no new treasury bonds. Russia ain't. I mean, look at the dollar. The dollar has fell for the last month and a half. It just keeps going down. That when the dollar goes down, that means somebody's selling it. They're selling it for some other currency. And as it drops, it actually makes our products here in America more favorable on the global trade market, because it strengthens their currency, weakens ours, and actually makes our goods cheaper on the global market. That's why China is trying to devalue their currency, because if their currency raises, it wipes out their fucking economy, because they're actually based on a low value currency. If their currency goes up, their labor and their material values go up with it. And that wrecks their economic fucking model. They've always actually been the cheapest on the planet. Well, not anymore. Look at India. Chinese labor is 3 times as much as India now. That's why Apple is moving to India. They're leaving China and going to India because labor's cheaper, and they have technologically educated people in India.
Oh yeah.
These motherfuckers came over to America, went to all of our great schools, then went right back and said, "We're ready. Let's rock and roll."
Have you seen the marine traffic around China?
Oh yes, I saw. I think it was a satellite picture. They ain't going nowhere. It's like a traffic jam.
Let me. Where is that? I just had it.
Which is linked with the Panama Canal deal. That's why China's so pissed off about the Panama Canal, because Trump is literally taking it back and hasn't let China even into the discussion.
Right.
He's like, yeah, fuck off. This has nothing to do with you. Well, we helped you, do this, and we helped. And Trump's like, yeah, I don't give a fuck. Fuck off. This is our canal. This is now the Gulf of America, motherfuckers. And China's fucked, and that's why they're actually saying we're not negotiating with Trump. The fuck you ain't.
Well, to that point, Gordon Chang, I don't know if a lot of you folks know who he is.
Oh, I know who he is.
Yeah. But I mean, the listeners, Gordon Chang is a really sharp cat. And he had said that what we see right now taking place in China has all of the fingerprints of regime change.
I heard that too.
The fact that they're denying that Trump and Xi had a conversation because the Chinese have to maintain this air of superiority and having the upper hand. If they don't do that, then they have failed on the world stage. And if you are the leader, you go bye-bye. And there was a commentator, or actually a government official the other day who said there's been no conversations between Trump and Xi. None. This is all bogus. They're making things up. Well, I believe Trump. I believe there have been those conversations. And it has had the air of a significant amount of conversation going on. Here's if you don't mind, I'd want to share this. This is the marine traffic. Over here is the west coast of the United States. The Panama Canal is here. Significant amount of traffic. But now take a look, and everything in green are freighters. Take a look at what's sitting outside of China and the Pacific Rim.
Yep.
That is huge.
Huge.
I mean, that's insane. Yeah. So, and their economy is absolutely based on exporting their goods. Factories shut down. They don't. Managers saying they don't know how these people are going to live. It's just
she and the head honcho of the Bank of China basically said this is how it's working out. This is the equivalent of what happened in China with fucking COVID. It's shutting everything down. And they're going to have to send out checks to the individuals because no one's working. He goes, what people need to realize in a trade war, he who produces the most
wins. Yeah.
No. He who produces the most and has their labor base tied to an outside currency.
Yes.
That's who loses because
yes.
We don't ship that much to China.
No.
So the amount of jobs actually put on hold is very minimal.
But that's what precipitated all of this.
Yeah.
There was an absence of balance.
Yep. And Trump is like, okay, motherfuckers, you want to play 145% tariff on all your shit. And what that has done a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago, China reached out to Walmart and was like, hey, can you help us with this like tariff thing? Can you absorb some of the, and Walmart flat out went, have a hot cup of fucking go suck a dick. And
Albertsons just said the same thing.
Yep.
Albertsons just came out and said all of our stores are not going to be taking tariff influence increases unless you are pre-approved for that.
Yep. And what has happened is all of it isn't all of it, but I think it's 47% of Chinese factories are on pause. That, do you know that's probably 600 million people on pause. That's why the Chinese government is like, fuck this, we gotta print. And they're gonna print and send out checks. Or all of their shit runs over an app over in China. So they'll just send the digital yuan or whatever the fuck is called over there.
Yep.
To all of the apps of the people. So they have money so they can get food and the regular shit, which is going to cause inflation at the food level because your level of production will actually be lower than the amount of the supply of currency. Then they're in real shit because they don't produce a lot of food. We sell them a fuck ton of corn.
Soybeans,
I think
corn.
Is it Mexico or Argentina sends them a lot of wheat? Somebody sends them a fuck ton of wheat.
And we send them a lot of soy.
Oh,
soy. You muted me. You had to have done that. Yep. You did it last time.
You exit out. You come back in. Wait. Yep. Hang on 1 second.
Okay.
Right. Nope. Fuck. As exit out.
Yeah.
And then come back in.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's China. China is screwed. China is absolutely screwed. Let's see if we got you now.
You got it?
Nope. Well, shit. That's all right. We're actually going to wrap up the show anyway. And apparently, they can hear you, but I can't hear you. I don't know why. Hang on a second. Settings, audio. Oh, hang on a second.
This is the second time in 3 weeks.
It switches it. This piece of crap, probably made in China.
Yeah, well, Z is making sure that you have fun on your show.
Absolutely. Fucking commies. And let's wrap this up with one more thing. What people have to understand, there's only, I think, 120 million communist members in China. 120 million. Now that might sound like a lot, but when you have 1.6 billion motherfuckers in your country, China is always, there's protests all over China. You think that China has it locked down, that all of their citizens are just, sheep and they're going along. No, fuck no. And that's what you were actually talking about. They're worried about regime change.
Oh, yeah.
Because when you got 1.4 or 1.5 billion motherfuckers that are pissed, fuck, I don't care how many guns you got. You don't want to shake the fucking beehive.
Does Custer's last stand mean anything to you, Cupcake?
Exactly. That's why it was his last fucking stand. We have a show here in about an hour. Patrick, lay it out, and how can people join it?
First of all, you have to be a CALIX Solutions crypto laptop owner or a Liberty laptop owner, and you would get a subscription through the CALIX Cyber Suite. Those subscriptions are available there. Sign up, and we will send you an email the day before the show, and you'll be able to link in and watch it live, or the archives are there after every week's show, so you can go back and take a look. So that's how you get in to watch it. Our laptops are currently there's $100 off, and you get a Faraday bag along with it to protect it from any EMPs. Show that we're going to have in about an hour. A lot of topics. Talk about crypto crime. Talk about Solana whales sitting on a boatload of money.
A shit ton.
Yep. The SEC and Feds charging some cat $200 million in crypto trading schemes. Crypto trainers being used via malware. Americans lost $9.3 billion in crypto fraud in 2024, according to the FBI.
Hence the laptops, folks.
That is correct. The hidden risks of updatable firmware on hard wallets. Hello. Trezors and ledgers.
Yeah, that's why I keep telling people, Trezors and ledgers, you don't want to hold your cryptos on those because they run through your laptop.
Right.
That'll fuck people. If you got a shit laptop and it's like tossing your wallet into the toilet and hoping no shit gets on your money.
Yeah, very true. Interestingly, we've had some folks have some issues with both of those of late. Also, I wanted to let everybody know the scammers are out there, and they're circling. About 2 years ago,
I will be right back.
Sure, Caleb and Brown got compromised. And they got names, phone numbers, contact information of the folks that had accounts at Caleb and Brown. And a few of CALIX Solutions clients have been contacted by these scammers. And I know you folks are asking, how did they get my contact information? Well, when they got the Caleb and Brown list, there's an identifier on there saying that the account came by way of an affiliation with CALIX. There was a link on there, or you ended up getting it loaded onto your laptop via us. And so when those guys call, they know that they should be prepping the conversation with, hey, we're from CALIX Solutions, et cetera. But that's how they've gotten your contact information. And the crux of the conversation starts from we're from CALIX, or we know you have a CALIX laptop, sort of a thing. So I wanted to remind people of that email that went out 24 months ago. We're going to talk about crypto price manipulation and how that influences the market. The Celsius founder is going to jail. We just don't know how long.
The hell you say?
Sam Brinkman-Fried is changing locations. Yeah, so they're moving his ass. I know that he's requested a lesser sentence, but I don't see that happening. And then we have a report on stablecoin transfers linked to illicit activities, which is one of the reasons that the U.S. government is looking to come up with some strong legislation and regulation relative to stablecoins. So yeah, there's a litany of topics that we will cover today. So feel free to join us.
Yep,
love to have you.
Everyone, have a great day. Patrick, I'll see you in about an hour.
Sounds good. All right, take care.
And if you want to hear more about what's going on with China, listen to my show on Friday, because I will be talking with Dennis Porter on Friday. And I know he has some information on China. So, wow. Love you guys. Love you, Patrick. I'll see you in an hour. I hope you don't die.
Thank you. I'll be on the respirator until then. Hey, Salvador, great point. Great point.
What's that?
He said he won a treasure once, and then he sold it immediately and bought some Bitcoin for the profits.
Good for you,
well done.
Salvador.
Well done.
Everyone have a great day.
All right. Adios.
See you later. Bye-bye.
Introducing the Liberty Laptop, your gateway to online anonymity. Engineered with your privacy in mind, the Liberty Laptop comes equipped with cutting-edge security features, ensuring that your data remains yours and yours alone. No more worries about your personal information being shared without consent. Say goodbye to prying eyes and third-party snoops. Enjoy your online freedom with advanced privacy settings, protecting your every digital move, all at your fingertips. With the Liberty Laptop, you control what others see and don't see. We customize your privacy settings and let only what matters most to you be shared. No more concerns about unwarranted surveillance. We put the power back in your hands. No unwanted access through the laptop's camera and microphone. Powered by the latest technology, the Liberty Laptop ensures performance while respecting your personal boundaries. The Liberty Laptop. Your control. Your privacy. Your world. Visit calixsolutions.io to experience true personal freedom today.